Caribbean Insight really is dynamite. Caribbean Insight really super was spite. Caribbean Insight enjoy day or night. Caribbean Insight really is dynamite.
Welcome back to CaribbeanInsightTV.com. I'm Lady V, and Maurice Bishop Saw Them Coming mini-series continues. Episode 2. The crowd thickened, and Maurice belched out the axe against the revolution.
Now, comrades, you would certainly know, as a result of having lived on our island for the past 2.5 years, that real life, that our actual concrete experience over these 2.5 years have demonstrated that right from the beginning, different United States administrations have shown tremendous hostility to our government, to our revolution, to our people. You will recall certainly that in the first 2 days, when just about every other country in the world was moving to recognize our new revolutionary government, it was only the United States government that held out for as long as possible before they recognized our government. They were holding out because they were hoping that the revolution would not last. That after 48 hours, or after 1 week or 2 weeks, that somehow or the other, the revolution might have been overthrown, and their plan of bringing Gary back might have succeeded. It was only when that failed that finally they recognized our government. You will know too, comrades, that in the first few weeks of the revolution, the National Security Council of the United States met in a closed session and spent several hours discussing the desirability and the possibility and the advisability of establishing a naval blockade of our country, setting up a ring of ships around our country so as to ensure that no food or no traffic could come to Grenada, and in that way hope to bring us to our knees. That plan was fully exposed by Newsweek magazine, one of their own magazines, in the first 2 months of the revolution. You will remember very well too, comrades, that in the first 3 months of the revolution, we had obtained the information about the CIA pyramid plan, a plan which we exposed in the month of May, just 2 months after the revolution. A plan which at the bottom had the idea of developing adverse propaganda against our country, which in the middle was going to resort to economic destabilization of our country, and which at the top was going to resort to assassination of the political leadership, and also the use of counter-revolutionary and terrorist violence in our country. We have seen all 3 stages of that pyramid plan, that extra arms and ammunition were going to be brought and were going to be used by the mercenaries who were coming in to assist him in this plan. Comrades would certainly remember all of these acts of hostility against the revolution. We'll certainly remember the kind of technology that had gone into the 19th of June bomb, which severely injured over 97 of our people last year, June. Comrades will recall the extent of that technology and would have drawn the necessary conclusions. But we have seen in particular in these past few months a very great stepping up of activity against our revolution by the United States imperialists. On the propaganda front, there have been attempts to try to paint the revolution as being a police state. That kind of behavior was ended once and for all when the revolution came. But they go out painting these images, pretending that here is a police state, pretending that here is a repressed and oppressed people, pretending that here is a country without democracy, without what they call human rights, spreading the worst possible lies against the revolution and hoping that by that it would have the effect of discouraging the tourists from coming to our country. We have seen this propaganda destabilization. We have also seen the massive economic warfare against our country. We saw it when our banana farmers were refused hurricane rehabilitation assistance at a time when these farmers of our country applied as part of the Windward Island Banana Association for hurricane rehabilitation assistance. But Dominica, St. Vincent, and St. Lucia farmers were granted that assistance. Grenada was excluded. We saw it over the struggle for our international airport and our attempt to organize a financing conference in Europe to raise funds for this vital project. We saw the Americans sending their envoys and emissaries to the European capitals to try to persuade European countries from not attending the financing conference and from not providing any assistance to the international airport. We saw it again recently in our application to the International Monetary Fund when the United States director on the board vetoed our application. That Grenada was excluded. In every possible turn, these people have been trying to turn the screws on more and more. The mercenary threat, likewise, has been a constant factor. Mercenaries have been training now for a long time in Miami. And these mercenaries, while openly using American soil to train and to get their arms, have been going on American television and radio and publicly admitting that they are being trained for invasion of Nicaragua and Grenada. These mercenaries, in fact, over the past weekend just gone, moved out of Miami in boatloads, claiming or heading for Guantanamo Bay on Cuban soil to establish a government in exile. These mercenaries, sometimes coming in the form of racist members of the Ku Klux Klan, actually contacted Gary some 18 months ago, trying to work out an arrangement with Gary to invade our country. And when they amount publicly admitting that they are being trained for invasion of Nicaragua and Grenada, go one step further and begin to think about using their own Marines, their own troops, in order to invade our country. And I think we have to see this, comrades, in the context of the fact that this United States administration is getting more and more desperate every day. This administration of Ronald Reagan is getting more and more frantic and desperate every day. Every single day that passes means it is one more day that our revolution becomes more consolidated. Every single day that passes means it is 24 more hours for more benefits to come to our people. Means it is 24 more hours for more unity to come to the people. Means that it is 24 hours more for the people of our country to achieve greater organization, greater mobilization, and greater preparation in the use of arms to be able to defend our country and our revolution. Imperialism understands that. They have looked around and they have seen very, very clearly that every single attempt they have made over these past 2.5 years to stir up counter-revolution inside the country, that has failed miserably. They look at the Ravener plot, and they know the Ravener and his men were crushed. They look at the Buck Budlal plot, and they know that Buck and his buccaneers were also crushed. They look at the plot centered around Duck and his ducklings, and they know that they too were dealt with firmly by the revolutionary masses of our people. They look recently at their last attempt, their most recent attempt to try to stir up a combination of reactionary merchants and planters, now known in history as the Gang of 26, and they see that the people came out once again and put on revolutionary manners on the Gang of 26. They recognize, therefore, that every time they have tried to come to stir up counter-revolution inside the country, they have failed, and they have failed miserably. And when they examine the success that they have had on the external front, they are also recognizing that even there they are failing, and failing miserably. Notwithstanding their boast that the international airport project will not be allowed to continue, if you go down to Point Saline tonight, you will see workers down there working to complete the international airport. These people have recognized more and more, therefore, that the reliance that they have put on external propaganda has been very limited in its success. That the reliance they have put on trying to bring about an economic squeeze on our country has not had the effect of intimidating or frightening our revolutionary masses. The mercenary threat, likewise, has not had the effect of getting our people afraid or cowed. They have looked around and they have recognized that the editorial writers that they are bribing to write the editorials in the Guardian and the Express and the Bomb, in the Vincentian and the Voice, in the Jamaica Gleaner and the Jamaica Daily News, that these editorial writers are every day losing more and more credibility, are every day finding it more and more difficult to have things to say, are every day being more and more exposed in front of the masses of the Caribbean, because they are obviously so biased and one-sided and dishonest. These same editorial writers who every day will write an editorial attacking our revolution, not one of them so far has written one single word about this threat that the Grenada Revolution now faces. The Caribbean masses are looking and can understand that. Imperialism is discovering every day too that notwithstanding their frantic attempts to try to get reactionary leaders in the Caribbean to attack our revolution, that these leaders are also becoming scarcer and scarcer. And every time they open their mouth, they're getting more and more licked, not just from our people in Grenada, but from the people of the region. Every time Uncle Tom opens his mouth, for example, to make an attack on the Grenada Revolution, he gets attacked as much in Barbados as he would get attacked inside of our own country. And tonight, when Comrade Bill Rivera was pointing out that he had some kind of old mother hen in his country who was now trying to join in the attack because apparently she does not have enough on her plate in Dominica. Apparently she is not satisfied with the number of rastas that they have been shooting in the cities in Dominica almost on a weekly basis. Apparently they're not satisfied with the extent of the unemployment in Dominica. Apparently they're not satisfied with the pressure on the backs of the poor and working people in that sister island. She now has to join in the chorus of singing for her supper and hopes that by making some noise and throwing two eyelash on the Grenada Revolution, that the Americans might dip a little deeper and instead of pulling out $10, might pull out a $20 bill. Because some of these people, their price is very small. A $5 could buy them. Totally shameless.
Still sometimes I see his car on the road and I still find myself looking in for him and that sort of thing, you know. But I know he's really dead, but it's even harder to face up because, you know, we weren't able to bury him, so there's no grave or anything that you can say, or you can put some flowers or anything. So I think that makes it even harder to really believe that it's happened.
Hey CaribbeanInsideTV.com fans, thanks for checking out our mini-series Maurice Saw Them Coming. Coming up next, Defending the Revolution. Remember to hit the subscribe button to keep the culture coming.